Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us, and we'll start out by talking about women's basketball. Head coach Scott Ballard is with us, and congratulations on a couple of wins this past weekend. I want to ask you a little bit about strategy and about the coaching process, because against Minnesota State Mankato, again against Concordia St Paul, their top players were both out. And I don't think you knew that going into it. Claire Ziegler was out with Minnesota State Mankato. That was kind of a surprise to all of us. And then, unfortunately, Anna Schmidt, during warm-ups in the Concordia game, was injured. She played a little bit and then had to sit out for most of the game. So what does that do to you and to the rest of the coaching staff and the players when you kind of have to maybe scrap your plans? Or how much do your plans change?
They don't change at all.
Okay.
I think it was a bigger deal with Anna Schmidt not playing very much in the Concordia game, because so much of what they do at both ends of the floor revolves around her. You know, the transition starts with her, pressure defense starts with her. She leads her team in scoring. She leads the league in scoring, steals. She's one of their better on-the-ball defenders. So that was very impactful for them. With Claire Ziegler, she doesn't play 40 minutes a game.
Sure.
So, our game plan didn't change at all. It was just, it was beneficial for us, that their leading rebounder and 5 more fouls to give inside were not there. But at the same time, some of their kids that normally play, 20 minutes a game, that, they play 30 minutes a game. And one of them, the Drost girl, she is probably their most versatile and, dynamic offensive player at the post position. So that just meant that she was on the floor that much more. So it really didn't change anything with our game plan and strategy going into the game on how to defend them. It did make some things a little easier for us in the Concordia game, because Anna Schmidt is so good at beating you off the dribble and creating stuff for her other teammates. I asked Anna Wirtz, my assistant, after the game was over, I said, do you think the impact of Anna Schmidt spraining her ankle 10 minutes before the game started impacted them more or us more?
Sure.
Because we didn't have the same energy and focus that we did the night before we played Mankato defensively.
Do you think that shakes players to see somebody go down with an injury?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't shake me at all. But, those who going into it knew that they were going to be responsible to try to contain her or slow her down. Maybe it affects, maybe they relax a little bit. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But we've not seen our team since that game, so we've not really been able to have any, dialogue about it. But, every team at different times of the year has to deal with some type of adversity, most of it usually related to injuries. And you just hope that it's not long-term, and to key positions on your team have, as much depth. But, we're going to have to deal with it too. And, that's why it's so important during the course of the season that every opportunity you have, get your younger people in, people that, are farther down the depth chart. You want to get them as many game minutes and help accelerate the developmental process for them, because when somebody goes down and you got to have somebody step up.
Yeah, and you want them to be at least a little bit fresh. Minnesota State game, 80-52 win. You had 4 players that score in double figures. Kind of overall, what was your thought on that?
Point with what we wanted to do at both ends of the floor. We shot the ball really well, and that always seems a little easier. But rebounding-wise and defensively, I thought we were very locked in. We looked like a team that was prepared and was very focused on what to do.
Okay, and then Concordia St Paul, it was another win for you. And again, you kind of jump out to a lead, and then you kind of hold on to that in the second half. Same focus against Concordia St Paul?
We didn't have the same energy level. You know, I'm not making excuses or giving reasons why, but I do know that we had been on the road for 3 weekends in a row leading up to last week, and then you had finals, and players are staying up late and burning the candle at both ends, you know, for exams, and it's a hard week. It's challenging for them, especially your freshmen, to going through that finals week for the first time, how to balance everything and stay focused. And as coaches, you're always concerned that they may not be as focused. But I was proud of our players with how they responded with having a lot on their plate that week. And the Concordia game, we didn't shoot the ball well from the perimeter, but thank goodness they didn't either.
Right.
We were 3 for 13 from three-point land, and they were 4 for 31. So, you know, we picked the right night to have an off night shooting from the perimeter, but, you know, we did rebound well, but we didn't shoot well from the free throw line either. So, you know, I told them after the game was over, it's like, during the course of a long season, about a third of your games, typically you'll play really well, a third you'll play average, and a third you'll play below average. And I felt like that was a below average game for us, especially offensively, but we picked the right night and got away with it.
All right, well, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break. We'll get the player perspective up next. Alyssa Jurgis will join us right after this.
Isn't it the worst when your kids are trying to do homework and the web page won't load? Or you're trying to buy airline tickets to your next vacation destination and the checkout keeps timing out? When you switch to HBC's fast and reliable broadband internet service, these frustrations will be a thing of the past. Not only is the service fast and reliable, but it's backed by a 30-day guarantee and free local 24/7 Wizards technical support. Visit hbci.com to learn more or call 888-474-9995.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. Alyssa Jurgis joins us right now, and thank you for joining us here. How was your first year here at Winona State going so far?
It's going really well. I really love the team and the atmosphere that Winona State brings, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
All right, how you got here? Because I know that you went to Lewis for a year, and then now here at Winona State.
Yeah, so actually, Coach Ben recruited me out of high school. And at the time, distance was big for me, so I decided to go to a school called Lewis University in Illinois, where I'm from. And that just didn't work out for me, and so I reached back out to see if he wanted to take me, and if he'd be willing to have me. And so it really worked out.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the recruiting process and finding Alyssa.
Well, you mean the first time or second time?
No, the first time, and then having to go back the second time.
First time it was a normal, recruiting process. Alyssa has Jamie Majerowitz, who now is married, and of course her name has changed, but she's an assistant at Bemidji. And we found out about Alyssa through her, and then followed up and liked what we seen and whatever. So, she came and visited. Was it in the fall? Was it in the fall before your senior year? Or was it the summer? The spring before your senior year?
Spring, yeah.
But she didn't stay overnight. She just did a day visit. And we've talked about this a little bit the second go around, that if she had made an overnight visit, if that would have changed her mind. I don't think so at the time, because she wanted to stay close to home. But it was nice to hear from her again, this past spring after her season ended at Lewis. But she was there for 2 years and redshirted her freshman year.
All right. Well, the Winona State must have made some impression on you to come back here.
It did.
I ask you, I do a little research on everybody that comes in, and I try to find out interesting facts about people. And the thing that I found out,
I tried to warn her.
Yeah, he did. He warned me.
The thing that I found out while looking at some articles about you is that in 5th grade, you already knew that you wanted to get a basketball scholarship in college.
Yeah.
That seems kind of odd that at that young that you would already have that laser focus as to what you wanted to do with your life. What was it about being that young, deciding basketball is the way for me to go?
I would just say, I don't know, it's just a feeling. I just knew that I wanted to get it done, and my dad had told me, he's like, well, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and he's like, if you end up playing in college, like, I'll get you a car. And I was like, what? I was like, that's exciting. And so but I didn't do it for the car. I mean, clearly I was just motivated, and I just really wanted to play basketball in college, but I just knew, and I knew that I was gonna take a lot of hard work, but.
And did you get the car?
Yeah, I do have a car. Yeah, I do have a car.
All right, very good. Let's talk about making the switch from college or from high school to college, and then having to switch again to Winona State and finding a whole new set of teammates and kind of finding your way once again in school. How has that process gone?
I would say the teammates made it very easy for me to transition. I mean, they're great girls, and you can just tell, like, when I visited the second time, that it was just like a family atmosphere, and I knew that they would make the transition easy. I would say the hardest thing would be all the new plays, which of course is just, you just go and, I'm still learning them, but, we're still learning new ones. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a really easy transition.
All right, and I know that you have said in interviews that you're not about personal record about any of those things, you're more about team, but we do have to say that you have the all-time record at your high school for points in a game, 36 points in one game. Do you remember anything about that game, and maybe if things felt a little different, that everything was going in?
Honestly, I was just playing. Like, my team, I couldn't have done it without my teammates, so really, I mean, it's not like me who just scored like 36, like they helped me do that, so I don't even remember. Honestly, it's so far back. It's so cool, but it's like,
And then last question, just kind of the process of everything that goes into becoming a college athlete. I know you played in U.S. Junior Nationals, so basketball is kind of your life for a little while. Can you talk about that, being able to play in Junior Nationals?
It was a really cool experience. I mean, you had all the coaches that would like watch from above, and it was like, oh my gosh, what coach is here? What coach is here? But it was just a really cool experience, I would say. I would think that all the girls would think it's a really cool experience to have, so many coaches watch your games, and just the whole recruiting process and the letters, and so that was a lot of fun, like playing in those kind of tournaments with all the different coaches.
And does that take up a lot of your time during a year to kind of prepare for that and actually play that?
Yeah, I mean, we would practice like a couple days a week with our AAU teams, and the coaches would tell us to just focus on the game, not who's watching, and but yeah, it did take up a lot of time.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us here today, and good luck this weekend and the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break, and when we come back, we'll switch directions, talk men's basketball. It's coming up right after this.
Technology. It's supposed to make our life easier, but sometimes the simplest of devices can cause some pretty complex problems. Computer viruses, connection issues, even remotes. Don't freak out when you're in need of technical support. Geek out with HBC Wizards. From general service questions to computer care and repair. Call us 24/7 for local assistance on your schedule, or visit your local office for convenient drop-off and pickup of your tech gear. Visit hbci.com/wizards to learn more, or call 888-474-9995.
What's a Southern girl? It's waking up before the sun rises. It's loving the simple things in life, like the dirt roads that lead you home. It's working hard to get what you want. It's hanging your own stands, breaking your own ground, and strategizing every little move for that one moment when everything you've worked for is standing right in front of you. Even if I fail a million times, I keep pushing myself till I'm exhausted, filthy, and about to give up. And that's when the adrenaline hits.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos, now joined by head coach Todd Eisner from the men's basketball team. And first of all, congratulations again on your win last night. 450 career wins for you. So are you aware that you're any close to milestones when you go out on the court?
Well, you kind of have an idea going year to year as to where you are, but during the year you don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. But it just means you've been doing it for a long time, but more importantly that you've had a lot of good players and a lot of good teams.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's talk about Tuesday's game against Waldorf. It was a big night for three-pointers. 15 three-pointers were made by you guys in that game. And talk about that. I mean, the three-point shot, how important is that to your team?
Well, it gives you an added dimension, and I think one of the things that's been really beneficial for our guys is that we've got guys at all 5 spots that can knock that shot down, and so that at times can make it very difficult to defend because you're pulling away the other team's post players away from the basket, which they're usually not very comfortable guarding, and then that opens up the basket for drives, and that opens up other opportunities within our offense. So it's been a good weapon for us, obviously, through the first 10 games. It's something that we want to continue to do with a lot of confidence. But our guys have put a lot of time in shooting the basketball all fall, and it's something that we definitely want them to feel good about and take advantage of.
All right. Before we get into overall how the last 3 games have went for you guys since you've been here last, I want to talk a little bit about Caleb Wagner, because he had to step into the starting lineup when Devon Whitelow goes down, and Caleb Wagner has really stepped up into that role and has done a really good job in his 2 starts.
Yeah, he doesn't have much choice. He's our point guard, and it's unfortunate, obviously, the injury with Devon that he sustained against Mankato, and it's the next man up mentality. But to Caleb's credit, I mean, he prepares every single day. He's one of our hardest workers. He comes in with a great enthusiasm and energy every single day. So from that standpoint, it's not surprising. He was very well ready to do a more expanded role. And he's taken advantage of it and played very, very well here the last 2.5 games.
Obviously, he was the guest last week on the show, and we've seen him the last 1.5 years play, and we've seen the kind of player he is. Do you think there's a little bit bigger skip in his step, I guess, over the last couple of games starting?
Well, I think there's a confidence from the success that he's had in the last 2.5 games that's certainly carrying over from Saturday to Tuesday, and we're going to need it to carry over, obviously, as we go into Saturday and Tuesday before the break. So, it's like anything. I think Mason's the same way. I mean, Mason's confidence continues to grow each and every game, and a lot of that has to do with the opportunity that he's getting. He was in a backup role his first 2 years, and now his role's definitely expanded. He's taken advantage of it and continues to feel really good about his game, and I think Caleb's doing the same thing.
And then again for Mason, he hit some big 3-pointers early on in the game that kind of set the pace for you guys.
Absolutely. I think he did it on Saturday and Tuesday, and he's shooting the ball really well. He's shooting it with a great level of confidence, and I think that thing can become really contagious for all of your guys, and thankfully that's been the case here the last couple games.
All right, let me talk overall here. This is kind of an interesting time of the year. On Tuesday, you play a non-conference game against Waldorf. Saturday, you go back to conference in Upper Iowa, and the next Tuesday back to non-conference in Michigan Tech. Probably you just prepare for your opponent, but does it matter that you're kind of alternating back and forth between non-conference and conference at this point?
Well, we just got to try to find places on the schedule to fit in these non-conference games. We used the first weekend this year, which has been different than the first 2, to play in one of the regional exempt events, and so that took away the first weekend to play a non-conference game, and so it gave us 2 extra games on our schedule to get to 28, which our guys would rather do. They'd rather play games than practice, obviously, but now we got to find room for those 4 non-conference games somewhere in the schedule here before Christmas gets here. So obviously Waldorf came up last night, and we've got Michigan Tech here, and we've got that Division II rule where we've got to give them 7 days off at Christmas. And because our last conference game falls on that Saturday, I'm just not real comfortable giving our guys 10 days off. And so we try to find a game here on that Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Last year we played Upper Iowa kind of in that fill-in game because we didn't play them over Thanksgiving. This year we play them Saturday, and now we found Michigan Tech to play this year and next year on that Tuesday before we go on break.
All right, let's backtrack a little bit and just talk briefly about Waldorf. What is something that you take from that game that you can bring to your conference matchup on Saturday?
Well, we just want to continue to get better. I mean, I think our starters, I thought, had some really good moments last night, offensively and defensively. And, other than we gave up a few too many offensive rebounds in the first half. But other than that, I thought defensively we were doing a really nice job of making them take difficult shots. I thought we played offensively with a lot of confidence and did a nice job of getting a big lead at halftime. And what it allowed us to do is allowed us to give some other guys some minutes and rest our starters. So, those things are all positives, and now we've got 3 days to get ready for Upper Iowa, and, even though it's early in the year, that's a big game for us. All
right, let's backtrack a little bit then to last weekend, and we'll start out with the Minnesota State Mankato game. Were there lessons learned in that game because you fell behind, you were able to come back, get a lead, and then at the end, Minnesota State Mankato went on a run to take the win. What did you learn from that game?
Well, it was kind of a reversal of what we had been doing. We've been defending really at a good level, a high level in the first 3 conference games in the first half, and not defending in the second half. And then we came out Friday, and that was really disappointing because we didn't defend at all in the first half. Let Mankato shoot 60%. I think they were up as many as 16 or 18 in the first half, and we got it to kind of a manageable number at 13 at the half, and then did a really nice job of rallying. Took the lead with 5 minutes to go, and then stopped defending again. And I think they scored on 4 of 5 or 5 of 6 possessions there in the last 5 minutes. And we had to foul, obviously, to get it to whatever it ended up being, 13 or 11 at the end. But you know, we didn't play as well as we needed to play to beat a good team that's obviously 4-0 in the league right now. And we've continued to talk about defending for longer periods of time than just 20 minutes. And playing defense for 20 minutes wasn't good enough on Friday.
And then you did bounce back, though, on Saturday and get the win against Concordia St Paul.
Yeah, and you know, I thought we did some good things. Obviously, holding the team to 59 points is always going to give you a chance. I thought offensively, obviously, we played better. You know, Minnesota State switched everything 1 through 4 or sometimes 1 through 5, and that caused us some problems on the offensive end. Concordia St Paul played a little more traditional in that they hedged most of those ball screens, and when teams hedge ball screens on us, we've done a good job of taking advantage of that, but we've got to make some adjustments here quickly because Upper Iowa is going to switch most of their ball screens on Saturday, and we've got to be much better than we were Friday against Mankato.
All right, and then last question here in this segment, talk a little bit about the health of your team. We touched a little on Devon Whitelow. We're hearing maybe out for a little while still.
Yeah, you know, Devon ended up obviously taking a pretty severe blow to the head against Mankato with, I think, 14 or 15 minutes to go in the game, and obviously tough kid, got up and made both free throws, but he was a little woozy and obviously was in a lot of pain, and basically the CT scan showed a break or a fracture in the cheekbone, also broke his nose, and he's got a concussion. So he's out for the immediate future. We hope to get him back as soon as possible. He's not going to have surgery, and that speeds up his availability to get back. We've got to get him through the concussion protocol. We do not anticipate having him here before Christmas, but we'll see what happens. But then he's going to have to wear a mask the rest of the season. So it'll be an adjustment for him, but obviously it'll be good to get him back as soon as possible.
And then for the rest of your team that has some aches and pains, is this Christmas break coming at a good time to get them ready? Yeah,
I think from that standpoint it'll be good. Obviously Caleb's playing a ton of minutes, so it'll be good to get him off his feet for a few days. Anytime we can get Tommy's back, you know, a few extra days of rest, although that seems to be doing much better. You know, Chuck's still dealing with his ankle injury. I don't think he's 100% yet, but he's certainly been very productive in the minutes that he's played. So, you know, the good of it is we can get the guys that are injured with some rest. The negative from a coach's standpoint is anytime you give a guy 7 days off when you only get 3 days back to prepare for 2 games, your paranoid schizophrenia goes all crazy, and you worry about what your team's going to be like in those 3 days to get ready for those 2 games.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break. We'll talk to the player, Tommy Getke. We'll be back right after this.
Ever wish you could just swing by the local office to pay your bill quickly rather than calling a toll-free number and speaking to a machine? When you join the HBC family, you get that and so much more with local office locations and customer care. Whether you have general questions or would like to upgrade your services, HBC is here in your community, providing an unrivaled, personalized experience. Switching is easy and installation is free, and we're so sure you'll love HBC, we offer a 30-day guarantee. Visit hbci.com to learn more or call 888-474-9995 to experience the HBC difference.
Cost Cutters of Winona presents Making the Grade. Catch all the spotlight happenings in the Winona School District 861, featuring interviews with students and faculty members. Tune in to Making the Grade on HBC TV 25 at 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Check your listings for additional weekend times. Presented by Cost Cutters of Winona, located at the Professional Building in the Winona Mall Annex.
Welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. Now Tommy Getke joins us, and thanks for coming back here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I guess the first question, Coach touched on it a little bit, your back injury. How's that going for you so far?
It's been getting a lot better since we played down in Missouri. After the first game, I couldn't really even walk after that. It was pretty painful, but got a cortisone shot probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and that's really helped. It's stiff. It kind of goes back and forth, but the pain is nowhere near it was when I came back from Missouri.
Now, how much extra stretching, how much extra preparation do you have to have before a game? I know I saw you bring out something that you had to roll on before the game against Waldorf.
Yeah, I usually try to roll out like an hour before the game. I'm usually the only one stretching when coach is talking before the game, just sitting on the floor getting a lot of stretching. I do physical therapy with our trainer Kelsey. Try to get in every day and do some like strengthening exercises. But a lot of it's just mainly stretching and getting back some muscles firing that weren't firing before. So.
All right. Aside from the injury, how's the season been going for you? I know that you're kind of the go-to post player now for the team.
It's been going pretty well. I'd say my three-point shot's been a lot better than it was early last year, but my two-pointers have not been quite as good as I think they should be, and definitely coach thinks they should be. I think if I can start finishing around the rim a little bit more, being more efficient, it would really pick up my game personally. But I think overall as a team, we're doing a pretty good job right now. We just need to be more consistent throughout the entire game.
All right. I got to ask, you talked about the three-point, spreading everybody out to be able to shoot from three-point range. And we've seen in Warrior history, big guys being able to shoot the three. How much does that help you to have your post player be able to shoot three-point?
Yeah, it's an added element, obviously. You know, when you've got a versatile post player like Tommy, and you know, Tommy is very skilled with his back to the basket. It's just he's had a rough stretch here for 10 games, and when we get that cleaned up like he played last year near the rim, it's only going to make him more valuable and more dangerous and more difficult to prepare for. But his ability to stretch the defense to 21, 22 feet, like I said, you know, we're going to try to take advantage of that Saturday. The 2 5s that play for Upper Iowa are not really comfortable playing out on the perimeter, and so we're going to put Tommy in positions, hopefully, that is to our advantage and to their disadvantage, and his ability to knock down that shot, Chuck's ability to knock down that shot, Kevion's ability to knock down that shot has really added an element to our offense.
All right, and for you, do you sense a kind of psychological advantage when you're able to step back and shoot from distance?
Yeah, I mean, ever since my dad was my coach growing up, and I was always one of the tallest players, but he never told me to like not shoot it. So I think ever since then I've just had confidence shooting it, and there's never been a coach where it's like, don't shoot threes, don't shoot threes. I've always been able to do it, and I just feel like since I'm not super athletic like a lot of other post players, it's always kind of been that step in my game that's helped me advance up through high school and college and just be as good of a player as I can be, I guess.
All right. I got to ask about the Winona State men's basketball Twitter account, because they've had some kind of interesting tweets about you this season, and one was right around your birthday. They called you Winona's Brian Scalabrine. I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so the story behind that is last year I made a bet with Caleb Wagner about the Timberwolves and the Bucks, and obviously the Timberwolves did not have as good of a record as the Bucks last year, so I had to dye my hair. Supposedly I was trying to go blonde for the first 2 weeks of school. My sister did it in my bathroom back home, and it turned out pretty orange. So I had to fight through the first couple weeks of school with orange hair, and I mean, I didn't really mind it that much. I think it brought up a lot of interesting conversations and something that I probably will remember for the rest of my life. So I don't regret it at all, but I don't think I'll be going back to orange hair anytime soon.
All right, I saw some people asking if maybe they can cut the time on that, and I think Caleb Wagner's response was no mercy.
Yeah, he responded to the tweet and said no mercy. So we're pretty competitive on the court, and obviously competitive with our favorite teams off the court, and we like to have a lot of fun. All the guys. Was
it the same bet then with Caleb? Would he have had to go with yellow hair?
Yeah. So it kind of came about. He came to school his freshman year with like a half blonde head because of going to state for baseball his senior year. But I'd never dyed my hair or any color, and we kind of just like we were just in the calf one day, and we were like, all right, that's the bet. You got to do it, and then 8 months later, it happened, and I had to do it.
All right. Well, thank you for having a little fun with us here today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for joining us here on Warriors Fast Break, and we'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.